The UFC is headed back to the Meta Apex this weekend. And am I the only one? Am I the weird one to say that I'm kind of excited to go back to the Apex? This is kind of weird that I kind of fuck with an Apex weekend where I'm just chilling there at home, loading up the UFC, loading up the Apex card, and I'm like, we're gonna get some bangers. We're gonna get some good fights. Maybe not the highest level fights, but some finishes. And I think on this card, we're going to get lots of finishes. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you guys all my quick picks, my quick predictions for UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Vallejos in the Apex. We're going to go ahead. We're going to get right into it with the early prelim opener of Pierre Rodriguez versus Sam Hughes. Opens up this card, opens up this fight night, and it's a rematch. A fight that's already happened before. A lady fight. Pierre Rodriguez won the first fight. She won it by decision. It was a close fight, but she won that fight. And, you know, obviously rematches aren't the same. We just saw that with Charles versus Max. Our boy got it done. The BMF champ wasn't the most BMF performance, but that is our boy. He got it done in the rematch. The rematches aren't always the same. Obviously, the first fight, there was an injury. It's different. But I'm going to go with Pierre Rodriguez in this fight. I was thinking about pulling the trigger on Sam Hughes. You know, she is scrappy. She is on a 3-fight win streak. Very sneaky 3-fight win streak. Couple by split decision. But, you know, she's always going to be a dog in there. She's always going to be looking to finish the fight. She just got to finish over Shauna Bannon. Pierre Rodriguez just got a decision over that Brazilian girl. I forget her name. But it was a good win, and I think she's just going to grapple her way to a win here. This is going to be a fight where we're going to see some grappling transitions, some wrestling, and I think Pierre Rodriguez is the better wrestler of the two. I think she can smudge her way to a decision here. She's got the much higher level wrestling. Sam Hughes is dangerous. She can find a choke in scrambles, and she could pull that off. Don't get me wrong. Plus 3.5 bet is like a lock on Sam Hughes as always, but I'm going to go Pierre Rodriguez to win this fight by decision. Classic, 29-28, maybe a split decision. I could see Sam Hughes swaying the judges a bit. We're obviously in Vegas. Wrestling isn't as important, but I'm going to go Pierre Rodriguez as the quick pick by decision. Let's move on to the next fight. Elijah Smith versus Su Young-Yu. I'm not going to take too much time on this one. I see Elijah Smith winning this fight. I like Su Young-Yu. He's been a guy who I've bet on a lot because he's got a clear path to victory in almost every fight. Wrestle, wrestle, wrestle. But we're in Vegas, and I think he's going to wrestle his ass off for that first round, but I think Elijah Smith is going to take over in round 2 and round 3, as he does it often. I really like this fight against Aaron Toe. He showed how much heart he has, how much durability he has, and how much his cardio is good, and I think his cardio is way better than Su Young-Yu. I like picking guys who have better cardio than their opponent. I think Elijah Smith's cardio is better. I think he's got more hunger, and I think he's going to pull away in round 2 and round 3 to win himself a decision here, so give me Elijah Smith as the quick pick by decision. I think he's going to win round 2 and round 3. We move on. Bia Mesquita versus Montserrat Rendon. They didn't even put her whole name in here. It's so long. I'm going to go Bia Mesquita as the quick pick. The odds are kind of crazy on this one, but I do think Bia Mesquita is going to find a sub. I think she's going to sub her way to the top 10 of the bantamweight division. Once she starts fighting the, the Raquel Pennington and the what's her name, Aylin Perez of the division, I think she'll start to struggle, but I think she wins this fight. I think she's going to find a submission here. Her grappling is decently good. Her striking is not great, but I like that they're in the small octagon here. Like I said, the Apex brings a lot of different fights because we're in a smaller octagon, and I like it for Bia Mesquita, who's going to be looking for the takedowns, who's going to be looking for the neck. And I think she's going to find a submission win here. In the second round or the third round, she looked really good in her debut, smashing elbows, 10-8 round in her first round in the UFC. And I think she looked really dominant. A lot of people say she has terrible striking, which she does, but her ground and pound is nasty. And I just don't see a scenario where Montserrat Rendon doesn't get taken down. She's scrappy, she's durable, but she's old. And I think Bia Mesquita's faster. I think her takedown entries are solid. And I think her ground and pound is really nasty. So give me Bia Mesquita by submission. Round 2, round 3. I think she'll be looking pretty good in this fight. I think she'll just get the takedowns. That's all she's going to need to find that submission win. So give me Bia Mesquita as the quick pick. We move on. Luan Lacerda versus Hector Sosa. Sorry, my mouth is like mad dry for some reason. I'm going to go with Hector Sosa to win this fight. I was looking at potentially picking Luan Lacerda because he did look better in his last fight than previous fights, but he was also fighting a terrible opponent that he should have ran through. He did end up getting a submission, but he was very close. It was very close. Up until that point, there was lots of reversals. There was lots of positions where Luan Lacerda is a classic BJJ nerd. I don't know how else to say it. I try to look past it, but he is. He likes being on bottom. He likes pulling guard. He likes looking for arm bars from bottom, triangles from bottom. And as long as Hector Sosa doesn't put himself in those scenarios to get subbed, I don't think he's going to get subbed. And I think he's going to find a finish here by TKO. I'm going to go Hector Sosa to win this fight. I liked his Contender Series fight. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of experience. Unlike a lot of guys that come in the UFC super fresh, he's 14-1. Don't look at this 1-0. The UFC app is obviously not updated. I'm going to go with Hector Sosa to win this fight. He's more of a dog. He's not a BJJ nerd. He will grapple with Luan Lacerda, but he will stay safe. He was in a bunch of submission attempts in his Dana White Contender Series debut and always popped out. He was in a guillotine choke multiple times. He was in, I believe, a Darce choke at one point, and he was able to survive. So I like that from Hector Sosa. I like to see that he can survive submission attempts. I don't think Luan Lacerda is going to armbar him from bottom. So give me Hector Sosa by TKO. Round 2 or round 3, once Luan Lacerda has gassed out, realized he can't get the submission, I think Hector Sosa is going to ground and pound his way to a TKO win in his debut. We move on to the next fight, Balaji Oki versus Manuel Souza. Already off the bat, I think this could be fight of the night. I think there's a solid chance that this is a scrap if it's not a 1-minute knockout from either guy, but this should be a very fun fight. Manuel Souza, big bruiser, big bomb away, kind of lightweight. He's coming in there. He's throwing big hooks, right? Big, powerful hooks. And so is Balaji Oki. He's not scared to get in a firefight. I like Oki. I've picked him in multiple fights. He's lost multiple fights. Obviously got subbed by Chris Duncan, got put out cold. But we've seen Chris Duncan's very good. He just lost to Mason Jones, who's also very good. So this is going to show the level of Manuel Souza. I'm going to go with Manuel Souza. I thought about going Balaji Oki, especially as such a big underdog. He could be worth betting on. If you guys want all my bets for this card, go check out my winnable down below. You can get all my bets for this weekend, for next weekend. We've been doing very well recently, but I'm going to go with Manuel Souza as the pick. I'm going to say he knocks out Balaji Oki in a bit of a back and forth fight. I think this is going to make it to round 2, and we're going to see a slugfest between these two. I think they're going to be throwing big hooks until one of them puts each other down, and I just think Manuel Souza has a bit more power. He knocked out Mauricio Ruffi on the regional scene. He's beat some pretty good competition. It took him a while to get to the UFC, but he's here now, and I think he's going to get himself a TKO win over Balaji Oki. Maybe a flatline knockout, honestly. So I'm going to go Manuel Souza. Balaji Oki's one chance to win this fight, I think, is if he comes in and grapples and tires out Manuel Souza, because we saw him get grappled up in his Dana White Contender Series fight. But even when he got grappled heavily for 2 rounds solid, he even came back in the third and bombed out his opponent. So I'm going to go Manuel Souza. He's big, he's got power, and I think he's going to bomb Balaji Oki with a big one. So give me Manuel Souza by knockout in the second or third round. We move on. Chris Curtis versus Mick Tybeck, oral bye. Very odd fight, I'm not going to lie. A fight that you look at and you're like, this is weird. Like, if you would have seen this a year ago, you'd be like, what the hell? But Mick Tybeck Orba is now in the welterweight division. He's looked good in the welterweight division. And I think he's going to beat Chris Curtis. Chris Curtis could pull this one off because we're in Vegas. Chris has gone to multiple split decisions in Vegas where he's just done better in the striking department. We saw it against Brendan Allen. We've seen it against good opponents. It's possible. It's definitely possible, especially with Sean Strickland in his corner yelling, hey, pop that jab. Pop that fucking jab, guy. Yo, pop that fucking jab, man. I can't do a Sean Strickland accent, guys. I cannot do accents, but I'm going to go Mick Tybeck Orba to win this fight, and I think he's going to finish Chris Curtis. I do. I really think he's going to finish Chris Curtis. It's a fight where a lot of people are like, this is Mick Tybeck decision. It's going to be a close decision. Chris Curtis is scrappy. I think Mick Tybeck Orba, with the lighter man skill, is going to get Chris Curtis down and get the neck. Honestly, I really, really see it happening. Chris has phenomenal takedown defense. At one point, the best takedown defense in the welterweight division. But I think Mick Tybeck's grappling is so high level. The guys that he's lost to, it's been in absolute wars. And Chris Curtis just doesn't go to war. He doesn't. I'm sorry to say. He had a close fight against an unk, a really old guy. I forget his name. But Mick Tybeck is young. He's fast. He's got really good grappling, and he's got the lighter man skill. It's very important. I think Mick Tybeck's going to be faster. I think he's going to have good takedown entries. And I think Chris Curtis is going to struggle getting smudged by Mick Tybeck Orba, and I think he's going to find a choke. So give me Mick Tybeck Orba by submission in round 2. I think it's going to be a close first round, but once Mick Tybeck gets the takedown, gets the neck, I think he's going to choke out Chris Curtis fairly easily, honestly. So give me Mick Tybeck Orba as the quick pick by sub. We move on. Brad Tavares versus Eric Anders. I'm going to be completely honest. I have no idea who's going to win this fight. I was looking at this fight and I was like, how has this not happened before? I don't know who's going to win this fight. I don't know how this fight's going to play out, but I'm going to take a chance on Eric Anders. I'm going to pick Eric Anders. Brad Tavares' chin has been just absolutely deteriorating. And Eric Anders, even though he lost his last fight to CLD by knockout, he's losing to fairly good guys. He's beating the old guys that he should, while Brad Tavares is struggling. Really, really struggling. And in his last one, he got bombed out by that Polish guy. I forget where that was, but I'm going to go Eric Anders. I think he's going to win a decision here. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I kind of trust Eric Anders to walk forward a bit more. Brad is just a decision machine. He just won't pull the trigger. I got 2 glasses here, man. I'm so dehydrated. I'm gonna go Eric Anders by decision. I think he's just got more pressure. I think he's got more output, and I just can't pick Brad Tavares in the big 2026, man. Even though Eric Anders is old, so is Brad Tavares. So old man fight here. I'm gonna go Eric Anders by decision as the pick. We move on. Bruno Silva versus Charles Johnson. I'm going Bruno Silva. You guys knew this. I was looking at this fight. When this fight got switched around, Loner was supposed to fight Bruno Silva. I was obviously gonna pick Loner Kavanaugh. That's my boy. But Bruno Silva is the kind of guy who knocks out guys like Charles Johnson. And I told you guys that I was going to pick, what's his name? Oh, man, what's his name? Holy moly, bro. I'm so bad with names. What's his name, dude? The last guy that knocked out Charles Johnson. Oh, you guys know who I'm talking about. You guys know who I'm talking about. I picked him. I picked him to knock out Charles Johnson because I told you guys Charles Johnson is a prospect killer, and that's it. And that's it. All right? The memes live themselves. They live in MMA, and that's why we win fights. That's why we win predictions, is because, and win bets, because of these memes. Genuinely. Drew Dober last weekend. Why did I pick him? Why did I bet on him? Because the memes are what keep us alive in this MMA and UFC community. And the memes tell themselves here. Charles Johnson, prospect killer. Bruno Silva, old guy with big power, can knock out and finish his opponents and is very dangerous. I think Bruno Silva is going to knock out Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson is a guy who likes to keep distance, likes to keep range, likes to keep you at the end of his punch. But when he has a guy who blitzes in and bombs away, he struggles. Like his last fight where he got chinned at UFC 324. So I'm going to go Bruno Silva by knockout. I could definitely see Charles Johnson winning a decision here, but the memes live in the UFC for a reason. Bruno Silva is much smaller, much more powerful. I think he's going to get in the pocket. I think he's going to bomb away. He's dangerous. Even at this age, Charles Johnson is old as well. I'm going to go Bruno Silva by knockout as the early prediction. We move on to the main card. Vitor Petrino versus Steven Asplund. Oh my God, bro. I was like looking at this when this fight got me. I mean, look at their body types. I love Steven Asplund, man. I love what he's done, you know, the cutting like 300 pounds. He used to be 500 pounds. He's now 260 pounds. He's cut so much weight. He's done very well for himself. He's in the UFC now, just had a great performance in his last one. But this is a big step up. It's a big step up and is very soon, or very early in his career. And I think Steven Asplund can win this fight. But I'm too much of a pussy to pick him. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to pick Vitor Petrino to win this fight because of what we've been seeing with Vitor at heavyweight. He's got the lighter man skill. He's been looking good at heavyweight. He put away Austin Lane like you should. He just finished Steven Asplund's training partner. What's his name? Oh, man. I can't get any of these names right today. He finished Steven Asplund's training partner in his last fight by knockout. And Vitor's pretty good. He's pretty good. If you're not a guy who can break Vitor Petrino, you're going to struggle. And I think Steven can, though. That's the problem. That's the problem with this fight, man. I'm struggling because I want to pick Steven Asplund. But we just haven't seen enough yet from him. We haven't seen enough yet. So I'm going to go Vitor Petrino as the early pick. But, Steve, oh my God. Am I going to switch my pick? I'm going to go Steven Asplund. I'm switching my pick. I'm going Steven Asplund by knockout. What am I doing? I think Vitor's faster. I think he's got the lighter man skill. I think he's more explosive. He's more physical. But Steven Asplund's output is crazy. And he's got a good chin on him. He's only been subbed. I don't think Vitor Petrino is going to sub him, you know? Unless Vitor comes in here grappling, game plan, and just goes down and subs him. I think Asplund can win. So I'm going to go Steven Asplund by knockout. Volume, you know, keeping it on the feet, breaking down Vitor Petrino like he did his last opponent. He threw 170 significant strikes in a round and a half. All right, Steven Asplund is the Max Holloway of the heavyweight division. I'm going Asplund. The heart, you know, the durability, the nonstop pressure. Vitor doesn't like pressure. He doesn't. We've seen him get broken by guys with pressure, right? So I'm going to go Steven Asplund to win this fight by knockout, TKO, too much pressure, too much volume. I'm going to go Steven Asplund, man. I was going to go Vitor, but I'm switching my pick. Steven Asplund is going to be the quick pick. We move on. Harry Hardwick versus Marwan Rahiki. Oh, man. You know, Harry Hardwick had a terrible debut, but he was up a weight class, fighting at lightweight. I don't think this fight's at lightweight. I think this is at featherweight. Why does it say lightweight? But Harry Hardwick had a bad performance. Got leg kicked, TKO'd, and showed that he's got a bit of quit in him. Obviously, he was up a weight class, short notice against a tough guy in Cal Fernandez, who a lot of people overlook, who's very good in the lightweight division. But I'm going to go Marwan Rahiki. I really liked his Dana White Contender Series fight. Even though he got dropped like 3 times, he showed heart. He showed just game plan, just coming back alive and constantly bombing his opponent and knocked him out. And I think he's going to knock out Harry Hardwick, who he's a volume guy. He's a guy who wants to keep it at range, who wants to get a decision win. Let's just be honest. And I don't think Marwan Rahiki's going to let that happen. I think he's going to be in his face. He's going to be bombing him away, and he's not going to let him breathe. So give me Marwan Rahiki by TKO. I think he's going to finish Harry Hardwick in the second round. We move on to the next fight, Jose Miguel Delgado versus Andre Fili. Good luck, Andre Fili. You are done, brother. All right, pack your bags. It's over. I'm going with Jose Miguel Delgado, and I don't see any other outcome than a Jose Miguel Delgado round 1 TKO. This is a really bad matchup for Andre Fili. When he fights explosive strikers who have round 1 finishing ability, who have big knockout power, he gets chinned, all right, or he gets finished no matter what. We've seen it time and time again. He beats guys like Christian Rodriguez all day. That's why I picked him to beat C-Rod. He beats guys who can't finish him, but when it's an explosive, dangerous opponent, he gets chinned, and I think Jose Melgado is going to chin him with a big overhand right, just like Dan Ige did, just like multiple guys did, like Joanderson Brito did. I'm remembering names now. I'm going to go Delgado by round 1 knockout. I'm not overthinking this. Younger, faster, more explosive, more dangerous, and doesn't have as much wear as Andre Fili does. Fili's been in the UFC since like 2014. He's got over 37 professional fights. That's a lot. It's a lot, and he's taking a lot of damage. So I'm going to go Delgado, smaller octagon. He's going to be able to close the distance really easily. He's looked really good. I thought he won that Nathaniel Wood fight, and this is a great bounce back for him. So give me Jose Miguel Delgado by round 1 knockout as the pick. We move on. Ion Cutelaba versus Umar Sy. Very tough one to pick, because I picked Modestas Bukauskas to beat Ion Cutelaba in their fight in Montreal when I was there live, and I thought Ion Cutelaba won. I did. But it was very close. It was very close. And Umar Sy's very, very good. It's just, is he going to show up or is he not? He didn't show up when he fought, what's his name? Alonzo Menifield. He did not show up. He looked terrible. But I think Umar Sy's way better. I think he's way better than Ion Cutelaba everywhere. It's just a matter of, is he going to get broken down by Ion Cutelaba like multiple guys do? I don't know. But I'm going to pick Umar Sy. Not very confident in this because Ion Cutelaba is always dangerous. He's always there to fraud check dudes. But we already saw Umar Sy get fraud checked and come back and beat Brenson Ribeiro and look really good doing it. I think Umar Sy is able to get the takedowns. I think he's able to get the back of Ion Cutelaba, either sub him or ground and pound him to a finish. So I'm going to go Ion Cutelaba. Man, what my subconscious is telling me, yo, Eon's going to win. But I'm going to go Umar Sy by ground and pound TKO. I think he's going to finish Ion Cutelaba. But this is a sketchy one. I'm not very confident here. I'm going to go Umar Sy as the pick, though. We move on to the co-main event. Amanda Lemos versus Jillian Robertson. You guys know I'm a Canadian casual. You guys know. All right. I'm picking Jillian Robertson. She is very good. She's very good. I am very worried in this fight, though, because if she doesn't get the takedown, she might be fucked. I got to be honest. Jillian Robertson has great takedowns. She's got great ground and pound. She's got amazing submissions, the most submissions in strawweight history. Amazing, really impressive. But Amanda Lemos is a dog. She's a girl who's difficult to take down, who can be subbed when she is down, but is very difficult to take down. So I think within the first minute of this fight, we're going to see who's going to win this fight, genuinely. And if you're holding a Jillian Robertson slip bet and she doesn't get that first takedown, you might be worried. I won't lie. You might be worried, but I'm going to go Jillian Robertson to win this fight. I do think she's going to get the takedown, and I do think she's going to kind of grind on Amanda Lemos and tire her out in that first and finish her in the second. I think Jillian Robertson's submission game is too dangerous for Amanda Lemos. We've seen her get armbarred. We've seen her get rear naked choked. And obviously, Tatiana Suarez was struggling to take her down, struggling to control her, but I think Tatiana's a bum. I'm going to be honest. I think Tatiana Suarez is a terrible fighter. I didn't think she had any chance against Zhang Weili. And I'm going to go Jillian Robertson to win this fight by submission or by TKO in round 2. I think she's going to get the takedown. She's going to get the ground control time. She's going to tire out Lemos, and then she's going to finish her. So I'm going to go Jillian Robertson, but this is a scary fight for her. I'm going to lean Jillian Robertson by finish in the second, though. We move on to the main event. We're already at the main event. Why does it say lightweight? This is featherweight fight. Come on, UFC. Josh Emmett versus Kevin Vallejos. This is a classic UFC. Old man versus young, new, fresh prospect. We're trying to build up the fresh prospect. And he's fighting Josh Emmett, who's a vet of the game, a guy who's got one-punch knockout power. He's 41 years old. He's had a very long career. He's fought the best of the best. He's fought Yair Rodriguez for the interim title. He's fought Ilia Topuria. He's fought really high-level competition. But when I look at this matchup, I hate to say it, but this feels like a Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria 2.0. It does. It really does. But but I think there's finishing upside for Kevin Vallejos here because Josh Emmett is now 41 years old, taken immense damage, has been finished now by submission, and I think he's ready to be cracked on the chin. I think he is. I think Kevin Vallejos, with enough calmness and enough composure in there, as a young fighter, as long as he's composed against Josh Emmett, doesn't get overzealous, doesn't get clipped with that overhand left that Josh Emmett throws, that overhand right. No, that's that overhand right that he bombs people out with. As long as Kevin Vallejos is composed, which he is for such a young age at like 28, he's very composed. He looks like a very high-level prospect. I think he wins this fight. I'm going to go Kevin Vallejos. He's a huge favorite. I think he's a huge favorite for a reason. This is a clear UFC setup for Kevin Vallejos to get a win here, and I think he will. I think he will, but he does have to be composed. He has to be careful. Obviously, Josh Emmett is always primed for a one-punch knockout, but I just don't see it. Kevin Vallejos has a great chin. He's very defensively sound with that tight guard. You know, protects his body. He's very, very defensively sound, which I love. Especially against Giga Chikadze, was a great look because he was getting slammed with body kicks, was at a very big range disadvantage, and still bombed him out cold in the second round with a spinning elbow, and then nasty ground and pound shots. So I'm going to go Kevin Vallejos to win this fight, and I think he's going to finish Josh Emmett by knockout. I think he's going to put together a combination up against the fence and finish Josh Emmett. So give me Kevin Vallejos as the quick pick by knockout. I think he's going to finish Josh Emmett and boost himself up the rankings. And then we are going to call out for the John Silva matchup. And we are going to be in the top 10 of the featherweight division. And we are going to be coming for the belt. I like Kevin Vallejos. I'm going to go Kevin Vallejos by knockout. Those are all my quick picks for UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Vallejos, UFC Vegas 114. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments who you guys think is going to win the main event, and go check out my Winnable to get all my bets for this card, and I will catch you guys in the next video. See you.